All right, welcome to the Self-Publishing Success webinar. I thank you for coming. I hope everyone's getting settled. We're just going to go ahead and dive right in. We are on the Business of Self-Publishing webinar. This is the first webinar in the four-part series that I offer. The rest of the series is going to be held in the upcoming week, one Wednesday, Friday, and Monday to finish it off. I did do an intro to this series, which was last Friday. For those that joined us then, thank you for coming back. And this is all going to be on the business of self-publishing. So this webinar is going to be on the red tape, setting up your business, choosing a name, registering it with your city or in your state, getting your ISBNs, the copyright, Library of Congress, then looking at printing and distribution options and crunching the numbers. How much can you make when you sell a book? How do you figure all of that out? What price do you set your book at? And we're going to touch base a little bit on ebooks as well, as far as, how do you get your ebook for sale on Amazon, and how the numbers work as far as how much can you make for ebooks. So all that is going to be in this one. On Wednesday, the Constructing Your Author platform is about setting the groundwork for your book marketing. So creating websites, your social media platform, newsletters, how to grow fans, and different things that you can do, such as blogging and videos series. Part 3 is about building your book. We're going to touch base a little bit on the editing, and then we're going to talk about the interior formatting, cover design, ebook creation, and look at what makes a good layout for a book and how it's done. In part 4, we're going to dive into the marketing of your book. So you set the platform, now you need to use it, and what you can go about actually doing the marketing of your book once the book is launched or right before it's launched. Okay, but first we're going to talk about the business of self-publishing. It's not the funnest class, but it is the most important one as far as learning how self-publishing works. And so you set everything up correctly before you get into the actual publishing of your book. Really quick, I am Kimberly Martin. For those that don't know me, I'm the owner here of Jera Publishing. I'm also a self-publishing coach. You can reach me at km@jerapublishing.com or 770-642-6400. Now, I do see some people that have signed up that come to our meetup groups, so thank you for joining me on the webinar. And I hope to see more meetup groups. We do hold meetup groups about twice a month here for author support groups and kind of mini classes that we hold here in Roswell, Georgia. So if you are in the Atlanta area, look us up and see what kind of local classes and meetup groups for authors we might be able to help you with. And Jera Publishing, we do a lot of things here to help support the self-publishing author. Everything from coaching to full packages, editing and proofreading, interior book design, cover design, ebooks, and marketing material. Pretty much any service you might need to support yourself in your self-publishing journey, we can help you with. Check us out online at selfhub.net or email us or give us a call. You'll see what we can help you with. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. I am recording this, and I will be sending a link to a recording after this is over, probably tomorrow. I will also send a PDF of all the slides. And also, we're going to hold a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. I have a lot of material to get through here, so I want to make sure I get through the material in a timely fashion so those people that need to leave can do so. But I will hold question and answers at the end. So please hold your questions until the end of the session, then I'll take some time to answer them for you. There is a little question box that you can type your question in during at the end of this session. Okay, let's get going. First, before we start talking about self-publishing, I want to touch base briefly on how it compares to other publishing platforms or methods. Traditional publishing, we're talking about the big publishing houses such as Random House, Simon & Schuster, Penguin. There's not many of them left, but there are some large publishing houses out there. And then there are some smaller publishing houses that do the traditional publishing method, but they're just smaller. The way this works is you submit your manuscript in a query letter to agents. The agents market to editors or publishing houses on your behalf. If you get picked up, You will get paid in advance on future royalties. It's kind of a loan, so the advance is against your royalties they expect your book to earn. They handle everything for you, pretty much. Not everything, but the editing, the formatting, cover design, printing and distribution. They're going to handle all that for you and get your book in the stores. Now, when it comes time for payment, the agent is going to take a cut, probably the editor, and of course the publishing house is all going to take a cut of those profits, and you will get paid a royalty on every book that's sold. Until your advance is covered or paid back, you will either receive no royalties or reduced royalties until that advance has been covered by the money that's been generated by the book. One thing that people don't realize or have a misconception about is traditional publishing houses really don't help you with the marketing. They might open some doors for you, but especially the lower rung authors that are just starting out, you're not going to have any marketing support. They're not going to have a marketing budget for you. And you will have to get most of the marketing that you want to do approved by them. So if you want to do a book signing or a blog tour, you will have to get permission from the publishing house to do it, but they're not going to help support you. In any of these publishing models, you are pretty much going to be responsible for all the marketing of your book on your own. Subsidy publishing. This is a different publishing model where, unlike the traditional publishing, instead of them paying you advance, you are paying them to be your publisher. You pay them a fee up front, and they take on all the roles that the traditional publisher would do. Getting the book formatted, getting it distributed. What services they offer you usually are dependent on what package you purchase from them. It may or may not include editing, for example. Now, in addition to this flat fee you pay up front, they're also going to take a cut of every book sale and pay you royalties. So you pay them up front and you pay them royalties, or they take a cut and pay you royalties at the end. How much they take or how much they pay you depends on the subsidy publisher, but usually not too much. They also tend to price the book higher than either a traditional publisher or a self-publisher might, because they want to be able to tell you that you will make X amount of dollars and that be attractive, but they might overprice the book in the market, so you might have trouble selling it at that price point. Something to keep in mind. Now, knowing the traditional publishing and subsidy publishing, we're going to take a look at how self-publishing compares to that. So what is self-publishing? A lot of people confuse it with subsidy publishing, since subsidy publishers market themselves as a self-publishing company. But true self-publishing is when the author creates a publishing company and then publishes their own book under that publishing company name. So you are in control of everything. You're responsible for having all of that work done. Doesn't mean that you are the one doing it. You, for instance, you might have someone else create the cover, the interior design. You may hire an editor. All that stuff you can outsource, but you are responsible for having that done. You are also going to purchase your own ISBN number, and that is, we'll talk about ISBNs later, but the big thing to remember is if you own ISBNs under your own name or your publishing company name, you are a publisher. That is, in essence, all that is required to be a publisher is you own ISBNs. So you're going to be creating a publishing company and then you publish your own book. You have a lot more control over everything in this. Whereas a traditional publisher may say your cover is going to look like this, or they want you to edit a book a certain way, set it at a certain price. You don't have many choices. With self-publishing, you have full control over every stage and process that happens. You choose how your cover looks. You have the final say on the layouts and design and the editing and the price point that you set it at. It's all you. And then when it comes time for the money, you're going to get more down the road. So here's how it kind of works. You have to have the book created, get it edited, get the cover design done, get the interior layout done, get an ebook created. Then you send that off to a printer/distributor. We'll talk about that a little bit later. They send it to the retailer. The consumer buys the book. The retailer and the wholesaler will take some money off that. They need to make some money too. but the entire profit after that goes directly to you. There's no other middleman taking a cut. There's no agent taking a cut, no editor, no publisher. So you have the potential to make more on every book sold, but you just have to put more work into it up front. So that's kind of how it works. We're going to get into these stages and talk about the printing and distributing, the wholesale discounts and pricing. We're going to talk about that a bit. It's more work, more responsibility, but you have more control and you have the potential to make more money on every book sold. Okay, so we're going to talk about the business part of it first. Let's get this out of the way. It's not the fun part. So as a self-publishing author, you are a business owner. You are running a business. The government is going to consider your self-publishing business the same as every other business. So you have to do some legal red tape to be legal and to properly own a business. Now, just to be clear, an author is also a business. So there's a couple little things extra you have to do as a publisher, but not really as far as the government is concerned. But you will have to form a business, and we're going to talk about the different ways you can do this. You are probably going to be a sole proprietor. That is what most self-publishing authors choose. The next step up from that is an LLC, a limited liability company, and that's just one step up. An S Corp is a small corporation, and then a corporation. It would be rare for you to see a self-published author choose one of those. Those are for larger companies. So unless you suddenly decide to be a large publisher with employees and things like that, you're going to be looking at a sole proprietor or an LLC. We're going to talk a little bit about the differences between these. One of the reasons you might want to do an LLC is it gives you more protection of your personal assets. If you form an LLC and manage it correctly and somebody sues you for whatever reason, they can only go after your business assets. They can't go after your personal. So they can't sue you for maybe slander that you did in a book and take your house. They can only go after your business assets. So if this is a concern for you, most novels aren't going to have any trouble, but maybe you're doing a memoir and you're talking bad about some company, or you're doing a non-fiction book that's business related and there's potential there for something. You just can't imagine what, but there might be. You may want to consider forming an LLC. It's a little bit more red tape to get it taken care of, but it's really not that difficult. I started out as a sole proprietor at Jarrah Publishing. I moved on to an LLC, and then I took another step where still technically an LLC, but I have S Corp elected status. So it can get a little complicated. Sole proprietor is the easiest one to do. LLC just a little bit. I'm going to talk about how that's done. Oops. First thing you need to do, regardless of what business model you choose, is to pick a name for your business. The business name is probably going to be your publishing company name. You're going to need to get a little creative because most of the good ones are taken. And I also suggest you don't use your name as part of the business name. So if your name is Jane Smith, I wouldn't suggest doing Jane Smith Publishing. One of the reasons I suggest forming a business and choosing a business name is there's still a little bit of stigma in self-publishing. So if you just stick your name as the author and the author publishing, it's going to be very obvious that you're a self-published author. And while that stigma is going away, it still kind of exists. So choosing a publishing company name and using that as the publishing company name will reduce that. So since you're going through the process of doing a business, I do suggest you choose a little bit creative name. You will want to research it. Google the name. Make sure it's not taken or something very similar is taken. It does not have to be publishing. You can just have a name of a business that doesn't say books or doesn't say press, doesn't say publishing. It doesn't hurt to have something else as your business name. If you're doing a business book and this business book is about your business or related to your business, you may already have a business name that you use for your business. You don't necessarily have to go out and form another business name. You're just going to use your existing business name as the publishing company. and that will be the publishing company name, and it'll be published by that business name, and you kind of have everything already set up and ready to go. Great. Saves you a lot of steps. But if you're writing a novel or you haven't formed this, this is what you're going to need to do. If you're doing a sole proprietorship, you're going to want to file what's called either a doing business as or trade name. This is going to be with the Clerk of Superior Court in your county. So you can do a search for Clerk of Superior Court and then put your county name in, and their information is going to pop up. Some of them have forms online that you can print and fill out, or you might need to give them a call to figure out how to get that information. It's a very simple form. You're basically saying, here's my name, here's the name of the business I want to register the trade name or doing business as for, here's my address, you sign it. You normally have to find a notary public, which is fairly simple. Just go to your bank. They can do that, or the UPS store can do that for you. And then you can mail it in with the fee. The fee varies greatly depending on where you live. So it's not like it's always the same fee. I've seen it be nothing for the really small towns to being a couple $100 or so in, say, like California. It depends on where you live. So get that done if you're going to be doing that, and you'll have a legal business name to operate under. Now, this is something a lot of people don't do because they don't know about it, but I want to tell you about it. I'm talking about the occupancy tax / license. This is managed by your city. And just like if you go into a business establishment, you might see like an occupancy tax or business license on the wall. It's basically telling you that they have the right to do business at this location. Just because your business is most likely done out of your home does not mean that you don't have to do that. They still want you to file an occupancy tax license as a home business. So call up your city and ask them about that. Like I say, when I first started doing this, I went for many years before I even knew I was supposed to do that. But it is, by the law, you are supposed to do that. Contact your city, see what they require, see how much their fees are. They could probably give you the forms online or tell you where to get them. Again, you fill it out, mail it in, pay a fee. You can also go down to your city government office and do it there. They're more likely to be able to help you. Sometimes they can even notarize it for you right there. Next one a lot of people don't think about is a sales and use tax license. If you are going to be going and selling a lot of your printed books yourself, you're having a lot of book events and you are the one collecting the money. I'm not talking about like on Amazon where someone else is handling the transaction. This is, you have a book signing, someone hands you $10, you hand them your copy of your book. You're supposed to collect sales tax, of course, if you live in a state or you're in a state that collects sales tax or has sales tax. You're supposed to collect that and then report it back to the state and fill out the forms. I don't suggest running out and doing this until you need it, because you're going to have to fill out that form on a regular basis, even on those months where you don't have any of those sales. And if you forget, they send you a fine for forgetting to file. So don't do that unless you really need to. You're probably fine if you just have a couple one-off sales. It's not going to matter too much. But if you're doing this on a regular basis, you are a speaker, you go out and you sell hundreds of your books all over the place and you are collecting the money, you're going to want to look into doing this. Sometimes if you're just part of some big book trade show or a book fair, ask the person organizing the event how they handle sales tax. They may have a way for you to do that without registering your own. Sometimes you can just get a one-off event license and not one that you have to file all the time. So just call up your state government, ask about the sales and use tax, explain what you're doing, and they're going to tell you how to sign up for it. It doesn't cost you anything to sign up for this, but it just allows you to pay back any sales tax that you happen to collect when you're making those book sales. So that's a sole proprietor. If you're doing a limited liability company, LLC, the occupancy tax and sales and use tax is still the same steps, but you're going to need to file what's called articles of organization with your Secretary of State. It's a pretty simple little piece of document that you're going to want to fill out. You are not going to do a doing business as or trade name registration. That is for a sole proprietorship. With a limited liability company, you file the articles of organization, which says what your name is and has some other things with it. You also want to create an operating agreement. Some states don't require this, but regardless, I do suggest that you do them. There's lots of information online about how to create an operating agreement. It outlines who the owners of the business are, what percentage of the business they own, and information about how the business is run. I do suggest creating it. If you need it down the road and you don't have it, which happened to me, you will regret it because it can cause some headaches. At the bottom of each of these slides, I did put a URL you could go to find even more information on this. If you're not sure and you happen to have an accountant, feel free to ask them what they suggest is best for your situation. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about accounting. One thing I want to specify and say is if you are doing an LLC, it is required that you separate your business and your personal financial accounts. You can't have your business and your personal share, say, a checking account or share a credit card. You have to separate them. And even though it's not required for sole proprietorship, I do recommend it. It's a lot easier when it comes to tax time and figuring out if your business is profitable or you're selling books if you keep them separate. If you're doing an LLC and you don't keep them separate and you are sued, you lose the protection that you created the LLC for. It's thrown out the window. They can go after your personal assets because you already mixed your personal and business assets. So they can go after those personal ones now since you didn't keep them separate. So when you get your paperwork back for registering your business, take that down to your bank, have them create just a basic business account for you. And they can give you checking accounts, maybe a debit credit card for that account. If you need a credit card, which you probably will if you're going to be ordering large quantities of books, things like that, you can use one that's just under your personal name, but you need to start it out with a balance of 0 and then only use that credit card for business use from that point forward. Never use it for anything personal. So you don't necessarily have to get a credit card under the business name as long as it's either a sole proprietorship or an LLC, but it has to start with 0 and keep it separate from that point on. So that's separating it, but what do you account for? You're going to want to keep track of all the expenses you come up with when you're publishing your book. So any services you might order, such as editing, book design, any office supplies or printing costs, the cost of this class, all those things you can count up as expenses. If you had to buy, say, a new version of Microsoft Word or a new laptop, and you're using that more than 50% of the time for your business, for writing your book or publishing your book, you can write off that percentage as in your expenses. So if it costs $100 and you use it 50% of the time, you can write off $50, 50% of that. You can't write off all 100% of it. Now also keep track of all of your profits. Of course, the sales of the books and ebooks. You may also get some speaking fees or other miscellaneous income that are generated as being a publisher or related type of things. So keep track of all of this. The first year of being a self-publisher, if you account for all the expenses you have going into it, it's possible you may be able to claim a loss that first year, which comes out of your personal taxes. But you don't want to run a loss, of course, you want to make lots of money. Speaking of taxes, both a sole proprietorship and a single member LLC are called pass-through entities. That means they don't have really a separate tax form that you fill out and file just on behalf of the business. You keep track of the expenses. You're going to get some 1099 forms which report any income paid to you, say from the book printer, distributor, Amazon CreateSpace. They're going to send you what's called a 1099 miscellaneous income at the end of the year. You have to report that on your taxes. That shows your income, as well as any other income you may have generated that's not on the 1099s, and also your expenses. You also have your personal W-2. If you have a job, you're probably getting a W-2. And then you fill out a Schedule C. All of that goes through onto your personal taxes, say your 1040. That is all reported there. So Schedule C is for the business. The 1099 expenses, all your profits you put on the Schedule C. They'll give you a line item number at the end that you then put on your 1040, and you file everything, pay Uncle Sam. So just talk to your accountant, but if you do it yourself, there is definitely like what is it called? Some of these tax softwares that are out there, they have things that you can purchase and download that handle small businesses, not too expensive, and they can do the Schedule Cs for you very easily. Okay, let's look at the other side of the business that's really more specific to being a publisher instead of just forming a business. You are going to want to purchase International Standard Book Numbers, ISBNs. Now, many of you probably already know what these are. They are unique to every version of a book title. So they are a number that is assigned to every single book in the distribution system. And they are unique to the version of the title. So if you have a paperback and a hardcover, the paperback and the hardcover have different ISBN numbers. They don't share one. If ebooks can have different ISBN than their print, if you do a limited edition special cover, it has a new ISBN. Maybe you had to do a revised edition that's significantly different than the original, it's a new ISBN number. So you can quickly see that you're probably going to need more than one ISBN. And so they do offer a block of 10. Now, you want to go to Bowker for this. Bowker is the U.S. ISBN agency. They have a few different URLs, bowker.com, isbn.org, myidentifiers.com. Regardless of which one you go to, they do redirect you to myidentifiers.com. ISBN.org just is easier to remember. When you go there, you'll be given the opportunity to buy a single ISBN or a block of 10, or you can buy more if you think you're going to do a lot of books. Typically, a self-published author is going to pick up a block of 10 ISBNs for $2.95. So that will cover maybe the current book you're doing, plus future books or different editions. And you want to do this after you register your business name, because you want to purchase them under your business name. So the publisher is what's identified as the owner of these ISBNs. You might find some other places that will offer to sell you ISBNs for maybe less. Be very cautious of that. There are some sketchy places that will go and buy thousands of ISBNs up front and then resell them for like $5 or $10 to unsuspecting authors. The problem is those ISBN numbers are registered to their business name. So if you take that ISBN and go to like CreateSpace or Ingram Spark and put that ISBN there, they're going to reject it because it doesn't come back to being owned by you. It's belonged by another publishing company. So Bowker is where you should go, or someone that is affiliated with Bowker. Some publishing companies can buy them on your behalf, but just be cautious when you're buying it from someone other than Bowker. Now, you've probably seen ISBN barcodes. If you just look over at the back of a published book, you will see some barcodes on there. This is just a kind of a digital representation of your ISBN number that allows like scanners to scan in your book into the system. If you're going to be selling on Amazon or want to be picked up in retail channels, you will need a barcode. When you go to Bowker to buy your ISBNs, they're going to strongly suggest that you buy barcodes from them. You don't have to. It's not required. No matter how strongly they suggest it and put that in your face, you can get ISBNs for free. You do not need to buy them from Bowker. Ingram Spark will provide them for free. CreateSpace will put a barcode on the back of your cover for free. You can even do a search for ISBN barcode creator in Google and you'll find a bunch of free ones online. A cover designer such as ourselves, we can provide and create a barcode for you at no additional charge. So yes, you're going to want a barcode, you just don't have to pay for it. So don't let them talk you into it. You can see to the right of the main barcode, you see like the 9000, or the one at the bottom has 51099. That is the pricing code for the book. The 90000 tells the system that's scanning it that you don't have a set price for this title. While the one at the bottom, the 51099, the 5 stands for US dollars, $10.99. So it's saying that this book's set price, list price, is $10.99 US dollars. Now, many self-publishers will do the 90000 code. That way, if they ever change the price of their book down the road, they don't also have to go get another cover made and resubmit it to the printer, pay a small fee, and so they put that code on there to avoid that. I do suggest you do put the price on the cover, though. If you're going to do book signings and you're going to a bookstore or something to that nature, they're going to want that price on that barcode. They want it there. It also makes it look more professional. It's a clear sign that you're self-published if you use the 9 code. So just take a hard look at what the best price for your book is up front and put it in the barcode. Barcode generators will ask you what the retail price of the book is, and you can punch it in there, and it will give you the barcode with that coding in it. So plan ahead of time what price you want in that barcode and use it. You can make changes if you really do need to. You can, create a new barcode, put it on your cover, resubmit it to the printer. You're good. Just a little bit more work than if you use the 9 code. I do suggest it. Okay, we're going to talk about copyrights. Copyright.gov. So you want to register your copyright. Of course, as soon as you put pen to paper, you have copyrighted your material. But it doesn't register it. So it does make it hard to prove sometimes that this is your work if you have no way of registering it in any system. So I do suggest that you register at copyright.gov. It's not expensive. It's kind of handy to do. So $35 is how much it's going to do if you do it online. You can go online to copyright.gov, electronic copyright. You can sign up, create a user account, and you want to do it before your book is published. So that is how you can get that $35 fee. Before your book is actually published, you go up there, create an account, fill out the information, submit, say, like a PDF or a Word document of your manuscript. Doesn't have to have the cover in it. You're doing the text is what you're trying to get copyrighted. And then you submit the $35 fee online, and then it's registered. It will take them some time to get you your little certificate back, but that doesn't mean you're not registered until you get the certificate. As soon as you enter it into the system, that's when it takes place. It just takes them many months to, it's the government. They're going to take a while to get that back to you. Hold on. Excuse me. If you wait till after you're published, the fee does go up. You can't do the online single application anymore. You have to do it on paper and send them more money and send them copies of your printed book. And you only have 90 days after the book is officially published to register the copyright. So I suggest you wait till the book is edited. You have it in like its final draft stage. You go online and fill out your copyright registration and then submit that final manuscript before it's published. The copyright.gov does have some nice tutorials and PDFs to walk you through every stage of filing these applications. I've included links here for you. Like I said, I will be giving you a PDF of these slides, so you will have these links for you when you get that. So if you're not sure how to use their online form, these tutorials walk you through it step by step. Okay, that's the copyright. Let's talk about the Library of Congress control number, or the LCCN. To be clear, you don't need this. This is optional, and as a self-publisher, it doesn't really do anything for your book. It's not going to help you sell your book or anything like that. However, it is free, and it kind of looks nice on your copyright page to have, a Library of Congress control number and have it on there just like a lot of the traditionally published books do. So you can get this for free by going to the URL on the slide. It's a two-step process. Well, actually three. You're going to register for an account under your publishing company name first. So you are going to need to first register your name, and you're also going to need your ISBNs. When you have those two things, you can register for an account. Once they set up your account, they will send you a username and password. You can then log into your account and request an LCCN for your book's title. Once you do that, it'll take them a couple days, and they will email you your Library of Congress control number, and you will want to put that on the copyright page of your book before it's published. The Library of Congress control number is only for U.S. publishers, and it has to be printed in the United States. So they do require that on the copyright page you have the address for the publishing company. Not the full address. You don't have to give them your street name or address, but you should put the city and state that the publishing company is registered under. They will require that, and it also needs to say printed in the United States on the copyright page. And then you send them a copy of the book to Library of Congress. They will give you the address to mail it to. You need to do that last step, or you won't be able to get another Library of Congress control number down the road, because they'll see you didn't complete the last one, and they won't like that. So it's simple to do. It looks good on your copyright page. There's no reason not to do it. Just don't think that it's really going to benefit you. It's not going to automatically get you listed in libraries. There's a lot more work that would need to be done if you want that to happen. But it's nice to have. So go ahead and do that if you feel inclined. Now we're going to get into printing options. So first off, let's look at the two different types of printing available to you. Offset printing and print on demand. Most self-publishers are using print on demand, but there are some cases where it's just not an option. With offset, you have lots of binding and size options. If you want a spiral bind for, say, a cookbook or a wire bind, print on demand can't do that. I really wish they would, but they can't. So if you have something that requires a spiral type bind, you need to use offset. Or if you have a book that needs to be a very specific size, print on demand might not offer that size because they have limited sizes that you choose from. They have a good selection of sizes, lots of them, but if you need something very specific, it might not be an option. Both offset has the best printing quality. So if you have a photo book that you need that really glossy, high quality photos printed in this like coffee table type book, that's what you are going to want to look at. Print on demand, it's good print quality, but it's not that type of printing. They can do color prints, and some of them do okay, but it's not that really glossy wow factor of a print. Offset printing downside, large upfront costs. You can't just go get 5 books printed. You have to pay a huge fee up front to get, like 500, 1,000, or 5,000 books printed. Whereas print on demand, there are options where you can get set up and get in the system for free. There are places that are very small upfront costs. And with print on demand, there is no stock to warehouse. They put it into a specific digital system, and as a book is needed and ordered, that's when they print the book. Whereas offset printing, they're all printed up front, and you need to figure out how to warehouse these. So books take up a lot of room when you have that many. You're going to need some type of warehouse or garage, and it has to be proper climate controlled so the books don't get ruined. And you also have to handle distribution. With offset, you have all those books. Great, but how do you sell them? How do you get them up on Amazon? You're stuck with that problem. With print on demand, there's a couple options we're going to look at where they also act as your distributor. They will get that book listed in the distribution channels for you. So print on demand is usually the choice that self-publishing authors are going to choose. It's budget friendly. It has some pretty good printing, pretty good print. It's suitable for most jobs, and it's very inexpensive. And the best of all, though, is to handle that distribution. There's 2 main companies that self-publishers look at: Ingram Spark and CreateSpace. In the past, a few years ago, there was also Lightning Source. Lightning Source and Ingram Spark are almost the same company. Lightning Source now only deals with larger book publishing companies who are doing at least 20 unique book titles a year. If you are going to publish less than 20 books, then you're going to want to go to Ingram Spark. They're going to consider you a small or a self-publisher. So, but they still work the same a lot behind the scenes. Some of the paperwork you see is going to say Lightning Source on it, so that confuses some people. They're owned by the same parent company. They just split it, one to handle the larger publishers and one to handle the self-publishers. CreateSpace is owned by Amazon, and they're also a great print-on-demand company that will handle distribution for you. Now, Ingram Spark has more binding types. If you need a hardcover, you want to use Ingram Spark because CreateSpace does not offer that. They offer perfect bound only, which is a paperback. Ingram Spark can also do, hardcover with a dust jacket, a case wrap, saddle stitch, but neither of them offer that spiral binding. Ingram Spark has a lot of different levels of color. They have like a basic color, a premium color for internal printing. CreateSpace just has premium. So if you're looking for budget color printing options, you're going to want to look at Ingram Spark to get a cost-effective way of printing in color. Maybe you just have some charts and graphs in a business book that need to be in color, but not that high glossy for photographs. Ingram Spark might be who you want to look at. Very small upfront costs with Ingram Spark. Just costs $49 to get a title set up with them. And they usually have specials where if you get 50 books printed, they're going to waive that title setup fee. CreateSpace, there's no upfront costs. It doesn't cost you anything to get a book uploaded to them. We're going to get in and talk about the distribution that both of these offer in a moment. So really quickly, Ingram Spark distributes to the Ingram Book Company. CreateSpace offers a couple different distribution options. Wholesale discount, we're going to spend some time talking about that as well, but they do have different options for how that works. Ingram Spark, of course, requires that you have your own ISBN. CreateSpace has a budget option that they will assign your title one of their ISBNs. Technically, that makes them the publisher of the book, and it will say published by CreateSpace on Amazon. Now, it doesn't cost anything for that ISBN, but it does have some drawbacks. A lot of people in the industry view CreateSpace published books as amateurish. They figure if you're cutting costs on that ISBN, you may not have had the book edited. Maybe the cover design isn't up to par. The layout's not very good. So CreateSpace published books tend to have a bad reputation. So I do suggest it sometimes if you're just really on a budget and this isn't something you're looking to do as a long-term business. Maybe you just have a one-off book that you want to get out, a book of poetry. You may want to look at that. But as a serious self-publishing author, I do strongly suggest you get your own ISBNs. And now you can use that ISBN on CreateSpace. It's just optional for you to have them sign one of theirs. So let's talk a little bit about offset printing. Well, most of you are probably going to think about doing print on demand, but I just wanted to throw some names out there if you do need to do the other option. So here's a few names you can look up if you're looking for offset printing to look at. Let's go and talk about that wholesale discount I mentioned and how that works. So wholesale discount is a discount off the list price you need to offer the wholesalers or retailers. So say you want people to buy your book at $10. Well, Amazon isn't going to buy that book from you for $10, otherwise they make no profit. So they want to discount off that list price that they are going to buy the book from you from. So say it's 50%. So they say, I want a 50% wholesale discount off that $10. Amazon will buy that book for you for $5, and then they'll sell it for $10. Amazon will make the $5 profit. So that wholesale discount is the discount off that list price that you have to give Amazon and the book wholesalers, other retailers. 50% here is just for display purposes. We're going to get into how that all works and the different options from different companies. That's just so you understand what that wholesale discount is. So let's figure out how you make money, how much money you're going to make off your books. You need to know a few things. the list price you want to sell your book at, what wholesale discount you're able to use, and different printers have different options for you. And then you're going to need to know how much your book printer is charging you to print each copy of your book. So to figure out how much you're going to make on a book, you take your list price, subtract the wholesale discount, subtract the printing cost. What's left over is what the profit is on the book that you're selling. If this was, say, a traditional publisher or a subsidy publisher, that $3 is like the main profit for the book, and they may pay you, say, 25% royalties off that $3. You're not going to be making very much. So this is how you figure out how much profit you are going to make as your own book publisher. Know these numbers, do the math, figure out that makes it work. Don't get into the issue where you overprice your book to make that profit per book more. You're not going to sell as many books, and you'll probably make less money overall. So find a competitive price of your book that's still reasonable and still makes you a good profit, and you will end up making more money just because you can sell more of them at that price. So let's look at distribution. We're going to talk about Ingram Spark. So Ingram Spark allows you to select your own wholesale discount between 30 and 60%. I suggest you go in at 40%. That helps it get listed into the retail stores a little bit easier. Once your book is established in the channel and it's showing up on Amazon and other book retailers, you can then go back to Ingram Spark and drop it down to 30%, then see if that makes any difference. I do suggest you start at 40% and go from there. So Ingram Spark is a 30 to 60% wholesale discount. So you submit the book to Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark distributes that book title to the Ingram Book Group, which is their parent company. They are a book wholesaler that is going to make their book available to the retailers. Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Books-A-Million.com, Pals.com. Any online book retailer is going to have access to your book title, and it's all electronic data. They're automatically going to pick it up and put it in their catalog and have it available to purchase online. And then, of course, then the consumer is able to purchase the book. Now, when we talk about print on demand, we talk about the book is going to be printed when somebody orders it. We're not really talking when the consumer buys the book. We're talking about when that retailer purchases the book. So they may want to carry stock of your book in their warehouse because it tends to sell well, and they want to enable that quick shipping, such as Amazon is known for their quick shipping. So they may keep some copies of a book in their warehouse. And then when they need more, they're going to order them. And at that point, that's when Ingram Spark is going to print them and ship them to Amazon. You can still have books printed one at a time and sent to customers directly. Or if, say, Amazon's warehouse is out of stock, then they'll order it directly from Ingram Spark and have them drop ship it to the customer. So Ingram Spark sending it to the Ingram Book Group and getting it into the Ingram Book Group wholesale catalog is what enables that wide distribution to a lot of different retail outlets. Now let's look at CreateSpace. They have two different options for you, which are interesting. They have their standard distribution, which is a set wholesale discount of 40%. So you send it to CreateSpace. CreateSpace, which is owned by Amazon, lists the book on Amazon but nowhere else. Doesn't really get distributed. It just gets, they just send it to their own company, so to speak. So with them, with a standard distribution at 40%, it's not going to show up on Barnes & Noble or Books-A-Million. It's only on Amazon. It's not really a bad thing because most people buy their books only on Amazon. And the 40% wholesale discount is good. But at Ingram Spark, you can get that same wholesale discount 40% and get a wide distribution. You just have to pay that $49 title setup fee to get in. Now CreateSpace can distribute to the Ingram Book Group on your behalf, but they charge a 60% wholesale discount, no negotiation. It's just going to be that 60%, and then they'll do the same thing that the Ingram Spark does by default. You send it to CreateSpace, they send it to the Ingram Book Group, it shows it up at those wide list of retailers, and then it goes to the consumer. I never suggest using a CreateSpace expanded distribution. I would instead suggest that you go to use Ingram Spark's get their 40% standard rate that will get you that same distribution, and you'll make more money on the books sold. So, but it's okay if you just want to use CreateSpace. You know, they don't have the title setup fee. Maybe you're on a really tight budget and you want to have them assign that ISBN, then use the CreateSpace standard distribution only. Okay, I do want to talk, and I think I skipped a slide here, which I'll have to talk about here in a second. I might go down a little bit. I want to talk about Plan B. Plan B is originally created or credited to Aaron Shepard. And he came up with this plan where you actually use both CreateSpace and Ingram Spark to distribute your book. You get your own ISBN, that's important. Then you submit your book to CreateSpace and use their standard distribution, not the expanded. You get your book listed on Amazon through CreateSpace. You then take that same title with the same ISBN and submit it to Ingram Spark. That will get your book listed in the wide distribution net. Now the reasons for this are, you know, like, why would you do that? Just use Ingram Spark. Well, there are some times where you might come into some stocking issues on Amazon if you're using like Ingram Spark, print-on-demand printer other than CreateSpace. They tend to favor CreateSpace's books over Ingram Sparks when it comes to stocking them in the warehouse, especially in the holidays, Christmas time. They might dump all of the self-published books, but they might not keep them in stock. They're still available for sale, but it might take longer to get them printed and shipped to the consumers. It also gets your book listed on Amazon quicker. When you use CreateSpace, it shows up on Amazon fairly quickly. With Ingram Spark, it might take a couple weeks to get it to show up on Amazon. So if you're in a tight crunch, that might work. Another reason is the cost to print a book at CreateSpace is a little bit cheaper than Ingram Spark. So you're going to get the best pricing and profits on your book that are sold on Amazon, which the majority of the books are purchased at. So you get the most money on those sales, but still have your book in the wider distribution net and showing up on the other retailers. So let's look at pricing. I'm going to backtrack 2 slides. I had them out of order. My apologies. So let's look here. This is a little calculator I have on our website at selfhub.net. And you can look under the tools, resources, and calculate, book profit calculator. So you can go there and punch in your own numbers to break down how much it's going to cost you to print your book and how much money you can make based on what your list price is and who you choose and the distribution options you select. So here are a couple samples I did. This is using Ingram Spark at 40% wholesale discount and comparing it to CreateSpace expanded distribution at 60%. The example I'm using is a 6x9 black and white book at 250 pages. And we're going to say the list price of the book is $14.95. Let's estimate that you're going to sell 25 printed books per month, and you invested $1,000 to get your book published. So if you look at Ingram Spark, the printing cost per book here is going to be $5.12. You're going to make $3.85 and a half cents, 3.855 cents per book sold. And you can see it breaks down how much you would make after 500 books sold, after 3 months or 6 months selling at that average, and what your return on investment after 1 year is going to be, and how many books you're going to need to sell before you break even. Now that's a big thing to look at. So Ingram Spark at these numbers, you would have to sell 272 books before you got that $1,000 initial investment back. If you did CreateSpace's expanded distribution, you would have to sell 469 books to break even at that model. That's one of the reasons I don't suggest using CreateSpace expanded. Even though the printing cost per book is a lot less, you're actually going to end up making less money because they're taking more for themselves when they sell a book. So let's look, I'm going to look at another example here. We're doing Ingram Spark at 30% wholesale discount. Maybe the book's been listed on Amazon for a little bit, you've sold some copies, it's in stock. You can drop that down to 30% and it will still remain on Amazon. It's in their distribution system, it's in their warehouse, everything's moving smooth. You can usually safely drop that down to 30%. And then CreateSpace, we're looking at the standard distribution at 40%. Here the numbers are fairly even as far as the book sales to break even and things, and how much you're making on books sold. As you can see though, the printing cost per book is a lot less. So this is where you might want to consider doing that plan B and doing both. I didn't used to suggest that simply because the numbers were a lot more even last month. Of February of this month, Ingram Spark has increased their prices on how much it costs to print a book with them. So this is very recent that their cost has gone up. You see the per page printing cost at Ingram Spark is 0.0165, whereas CreateSpace is 0.012. Ingram Spark used to be 0.013 as early as last month. They have raised their prices. Their per unit printing cost used to be 90 cents compared to CreateSpace's 85. Now it's 99 cents. The costs have increased. So now I am looking at changing my recommendation to using Ingram Spark to doing both. Getting those books using CreateSpace standard distribution, printing cost per book is going to be less. So if you're going to order stock for yourself, say you want 50 copies of the book, it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to use CreateSpace now than it was with Ingram Spark. So something to consider moving forward. I'm actually changing my recommendation as of this year. Something to look at. So you can go to, like I said, go to SelfHubnet under resources, look for the book profit calculator, punch in some of your own numbers and figure out the best pricing for your book. So we talked about Plan B. Now I also want to bring up Amazon Advantage. If you are using offset printing for whatever reason, or maybe you already did without realizing the disadvantages of that, and you have a warehouse full of books, you don't know what to do with them. Amazon does have a program that will let you sell books to Amazon directly. They will list them for sale on their website, and then they're going to pay you for the books that are sold. It's not the most feasible cost-wise to do this. I wouldn't suggest doing this over print on demand if you have the choice, just because the logistics are tougher. You have to pay about a $30 annual fee. They're going to take a 55% wholesale discount on all books sold. And you have to also pay for the shipping of the books to Amazon. So they're going to send you an order request for so many books. You have to package them and ship them to Amazon, and you are responsible for that shipping fee. It'd be great if they would just say, hey, send me 1,000 copies of your book and be done with it. Doesn't work that way. They might order copies from you every week. So they might send you 5 copies this week, and next week ask you for 2. Depends on how many books you're selling. Wouldn't that be great if you need to send them 1,000 copies every week? It doesn't work that way though. So it kind of overwhelms the authors a lot from these constant orders from Amazon and having to package them up and ship them to Amazon in a timely fashion. And of course you're paying for the shipping. So with the shipping costs and the large wholesale discount and the annual fee, you're not really making a large profit on these books. But it's better than having them sit in a garage somewhere and not selling at all. So as long as your book is professionally bound and printed and it has an ISBN barcode on the back, you are eligible for this. So you can send them, go to the link listed here or look up Amazon.com Advantage, and you can sign up for the program or look into it. Okay, we're going to talk about ebooks for a bit. And ebooks is basically the final topic here, so we're moving right along. So ebook platforms, we're talking about the places that you can go to purchase books as well as the devices you read them on. So the Kindle is the biggest one. Everyone's probably heard of the Kindle. Nook is Barnes & Noble's. They actually pulled all their Nooks, just plain ebook devices from the shelves last year. They do have like a tablet that they have out, but Nooks are kind of falling on the wayside. iBooks is Apple's ebook store that you can get on the iPad or the iPhone. Thing about that is a lot of people who have an iPad or an iPhone don't use the iBooks app. They use a Kindle app on their tablet. And so they're still buying books from the Kindle even though they have an iPad. Kobo used to be Borders. Borders went out of business. Kobo got split off and sold to another company. Now they're being run independently of Borders, which no longer exists. They're small time. They do some business, but not too much. And of course, you can have it direct download from your website, which I don't recommend. And there's many other smaller niche ebook distributors and places to buy that you can do. Kindle is the big one. The large majority of ebooks are going to be purchased on the Kindle, and that is where you need to focus getting your ebook listed on. So there are ways you can handle getting your book listed on the Kindle. First, of course, you need to create an ebook, and we get into that in the Building the Book webinar that we have, where we talk about the different ways you can build an ebook. But this is more about the business side of it than creating. So there are a few different places. Actually, there's quite a few different places you can go. These are probably the 3 most popular to get someone to handle the ebook distribution for you. You can Smashwords as one, BookBaby, and even Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark will handle your ebook distribution as well as your print. So if you send a properly formatted ebook to these companies, they will get it in Kindle, the iBook Store, Kobo, Nook, and some other platforms as well. They, like most distributors, are going to take a cut. So yes, they will do the work for you, but they're going to take a cut of those profits and send you the royalties. You can handle this distribution on your own. It's fairly simple to do. All you need to do is go to, for the Kindle, you would go to kdp.amazon.com. For the Nook, it's Nook Press. For the iBooks, Apple has another, iTunes Connect is what they call it. And then Kobo has their own platform. You just go up there and create an account, enter the information about your ebook, the title, the description, the price, and upload your ebook file to them. Then when money is paid, they're paying you directly, and there's no middleman such as a distributor taking a cut. So I do suggest you do that yourself, especially for the Kindle. Some people choose to do the distribution to Kindle on their own, so that's where the majority of their ebooks are going to be sold, so they make the most money on those sales. Then they use a distributor to reach the rest of the market and just let them take a cut. The sales on these other platforms are going to be minimal, so it's a hassle to manage all of them. So definitely go to Kindle directly on your own, and if you want to be listed in the other networks or distribution channels, look for a distributor. Now, ebook pricing, there's some things you need to think about. When you're distributing your ebook to all those different places, you have to keep the price the same. You can't say Kindle is $9.99 and the Nook is $8.99. They both must be $9.99. If Amazon finds your ebook for sale somewhere else for cheaper, they're going to lower the price and match that price on the website. So it doesn't work to have it cheaper somewhere else and higher on Amazon. They will figure it out and they will lower your price. For a novel, I do suggest somewhere between $2.99 and $5.99 as that sweet spot for the pricing where you will make the most money. It's tempting to sell the ebooks for higher, but it has been proven that if you lower the price of your ebook, you will sell more ebooks and you'll end up making more money. So, and let's look at some pricing models of how, say, Kindle will pay you and how much they charge you for using their services. So Kindle has 2 different royalty rates, a 35% royalty or a 70% royalty. The majority of people are going to use this 70% royalty rate, but there are a few cases when it doesn't quite work, and I'll explain why. The big difference is that delivery fee. There is a 15 cents per megabyte delivery fee under the 70% royalty rate. So if you have a huge ebook, maybe it's tons of illustrations in it or charts or graphs for a really big book, you may have a very large megabyte file size and you're going to get charged a delivery fee for all of that. And also price restrictions. You can price your ebook anywhere from 99 cents to $200 under the 35%. At 70%, you have to price your ebook between $2.99 and $9.99. Plus, it has to be 20% less than the cheapest print edition, say the paperback. It has to be at least 20% less than that price. So they have restrictions at the 70% rate. Now, the $9.99 is not bad for novels and such, but there are some books out there that are very expensive books, maybe textbooks for school, that they're charging like $50 or $60 for the print edition. You don't want to then sell an ebook version of that for $9.99 because no one's going to buy what it's worth. So then you would probably choose a 35% royalty, charge what the book is worth as far as what's in it, not just for how much it costs to produce. So let's take a quick look at why you might want to choose a 35% royalty. And my point here is to always crunch the numbers. Don't always assume, in this instance, that the 70% is the best because it's bigger. Not always. So a typical book, say it's 3 megabytes in file size, you're listing the ebook at $3.99, the 70% royalty works out the best in this. But say you have an ebook that has a file size of 15 megabytes. Lots of things going on in that book. It's a bigger file size. You're going to make more money at the 35% royalty rate because of the delivery fee. That's going to add up and start knocking down your royalties at the 70%. So crunch the numbers, figure out how big your ebook is. If it's a typical novel or a text-only simple book, 70% royalty is probably going to be right for you. If you're doing a children's illustrated book or a textbook with lots of graphics, do the math, do the calculations, and figure out what's best for you. Okay, last but not least, I want to talk about Amazon's KDP Select. This is a program for an ebook that Amazon offers. It's a 90-day program, and the main thing that is a negative, not too much, is that it has to be only sold on the Kindle platform. If you choose to enroll in Amazon's KDP Select program, you cannot also go to, say, the Nook, the iBook Store, Smashwords. You can only sell your ebook through the Kindle platform, which really is not a big deal because, you know, the large majority of people are buying their ebooks on Kindle. You're not going to lose many sales if your book is not available in the other platforms. But what the benefit this does for you is the main thing is it enrolls you in the Kindle Unlimited program. If you've been to Amazon lately, you may have seen this. You can pay Amazon $9.99 a month and be able to download a bunch of different ebooks for free. Any book that's enrolled in the Kindle Unlimited program, you can download that ebook for free if you're a member of the Kindle Unlimited program. So by enrolling in KDP Select, that enrolls your ebook in the Kindle Unlimited program. Now you're thinking, I don't want to give my ebook away for free. I need to make some money. That's okay, because even though the consumer gets it for free, Amazon is going to pay you out of their own pocket every time that ebook is downloaded. It's probably not going to be as much as what you would make if someone just buys it directly, but they are going to pay you. So it's really good for building up fans and promotional purposes that you can say, hey, if you're a member of Kindle Unlimited, you can get my ebook for free. They get it for free. You make a little bit of money. You gain a new fan. You get them to sign up to your email list, and they learn about your other books and buy more books. It's a good system. And that's what that Kindle Global Fund is. There's also the Kindle Lending Library that's very similar to the Kindle Unlimited program, but you don't have to pay $9.99 a month for it. Members who can get it for free in the Kindle Lending Library just have to be a member of Amazon Prime and own an actual Kindle device, not like an app on a smartphone, but a real Kindle. Then they can do the same thing as download those ebooks for free, but they only get to do one a month, not unlimited. Now, one of the really nice things that this also enables you to do, and we talk about this in the marketing webinar, is it enables you to use the KDP Select to run ebook promotions. So if you want to, say, offer everybody your ebook free for one day, enrolling your book in KDP allows you to run those ebook promotions very easily, and they will handle everything for you. You just say, hey, I want to run an ebook promotion. Here's the day I want to have it for free. Go. You can only run one deal in that 90-day period. So every 90 days that you keep renewing this program, you can run another promotion. We'll get into that more on the marketing of why it's beneficial and how that all works. But that is the last slide of the class. If you have any questions, go ahead and start typing them out. I'm going to hang around for a while. I'm going to continue talking for just a bit. Then I'll wait to see if we have any classes and spend some time answering those for you. Coming up this Wednesday, Constructing Your Author Platform. Same format, same bat channel here at 6 p.m. We'll be teaching that one. Building your book, as I mentioned, is about constructing your book, the editing, formatting, cover. That's going to be this Friday. And then one of the most popular ones is marketing your book. Of course, every author I've ever talked to said they thought writing the book was easy once they figured out that how much it's going to take to market. So marketing is a very daunting task, and a lot of people have questions about how do I market this thing. That's Monday. Again, same type of format, 6 o'clock. It usually takes an hour and a half to run that class. I usually get a lot of questions. So go ahead and go to SelfHubnet Classes Success. You can find it on our website. Register for the upcoming webinars. And again, if you can't make the time, that's okay. As long as you're registered, I will send you a recording of this presentation as well as the slides, and you can email me with any questions you have after it's held. So I'm going to go ahead and kick back for a bit and see if I get any questions on. Otherwise, again, thank you for coming. Check out our website, check out our Facebook page. We have a great newsletter with lots of articles about self-publishing and editing and writing that we send out. Go ahead, you can sign up on our website. Check us out. Give us a call if we have any questions. I do offer a free 15-minute consulting session. If you want to give me a call and throw a bunch of questions that you might have at me, I'd be glad to help you out. All right, thanks for attending. I'm going to hang out for a bit and see if anyone has any questions.